Welcome to Come Well to Am I as I Am, as you are. Visit asyouare.com today and purchase your products, book our services and consultations, and enroll in the classes and courses. Visit asyouare.com today. Now, without further ado, let's begin today's show. Quick announcement. The first 10 students to enroll in the classes and courses on the website receive 3 free products for a total of $70 free. The first product is Crystal Clear. The second product is Urban Love. And the third product is Spray. 3 free products upon enrollment. Also, each student receives 1 ring upon graduation. 1 ring upon graduation. Rings made of stone and crystal. Those receive a $40 discount if paid in advance. Full price if paid into payments. Come take your consciousness and your spirituality to the next level. Now let's begin today's show. Yes, welcome to Come Well to another episode, another show, another title, another portal entitled Am I as I Am, as you are. Today's topic in question is Incarnation or Excarnation. Incarnation means you return back inside the body. You return back here, a point where you are supposed to be graduating from. Excarnation means that you transcend beyond this dimension into your next potential. Now, all this is based on certain things, certain factors that factor in, that determine where you're going. If you excarnate, where are you going? What are you turning into? This is more of a better question rather than where you're going. Because it's more of a turn into factor. Because you hear a lot of people say, when I die, I ain't coming back. I'm done with this. It's over. I'm out of here. As soon as I die, I'm never coming back here. Okay. But where you going? Or what is the alternative of what you want to turn into or transform into rather than back into physical matter? What is the alternative option? In order to dive into this kind of topic, you have to have a certain kind of level or depth or degree of ancient gnosis, ancient knowledge. You have to know a little fragment of your ancient technology when it came to nano studies, genetic studies. Our ancient geneticists called Humnecheretapis that dealt with a system called Sematawi. You have to know about the ancient priesthood of the Olmec, which were the Akinme. You have to know about certain depths of things, even with southern India, the people out there called the Agori Sadhu, as well as so on and so on and so on and so forth. Even the ancient Tibetan system that deal with something called the Bardo Thordo, dealing with a stream of presence called the Samsara, that is the stream of traveling or passing through what they witnessed, what they felt, what they experienced, what they may have come across or known, and is able to share it back with you, with us. And you got to do your due diligent studies. You got to do some kind of research, some kind of studying of some sort to get some kind of gnosis to bring it back to the forefront in the present moment, to have some kind of guidance or navigation on what to do. as well as have a very close, to be in very close contact with your soul and have a very pristine relationship with your spirit. These things automatically tell you things. And they don't tell you things in the English language. You feel things. You just begin to know things for some reason. There is a reason. But to the brain, it's like, for some reason, I just know what I need to do. I just know that that's the way. I just know that that's the guidance. I know I'm supposed to be navigated. I know what's going to happen to me. And only you know this. Nobody else knows this. Because you're the only one that's supposed to know this, because you're the only one that can know that. Because it's that is happening through you and no one else. So you got to reach these depths and these cores within self, these centerings within self, deep within the nuclei of your being, to be able to, for it to contact, to communicate back to you, to give you a fine blueprint of your specific mission and your specific path and your specific calling and your specific divine purpose. Okay, now, when you're dealing with incarnation or excarnation, there's one process that happens in both of these words or both of these processes. Something the ancient Commission, the Commission ancestors called the Duat, the Tibetan ancestors called the Samsara, as well as a few others. I think is Xantham or Xantham that the Olmecs call, or the Shi people. Anyway, it's something of a purgatorial state between this body and the next spirit or soul's potential to be a being or a becoming, a stream that one goes through when leaving. I want to say leaving or ejecting or suspending from the body, but graduating, transcending from this dimension to its next possibility or next potential. And I've mentioned it before, certain things to begin to practice: your consciousness, your awareness, not getting so emotionally anchored in this dimension, because that begins to free you up as you're traveling across the stream from leaving or exiting or parting yourself from this dimension. And you're working on your consciousness and awareness because the purpose is to enhance your willpower. This is why it's very, very, very important and very relevant, according to this path, to begin to not fall asleep, but meditate and drift off. So you don't want to fall asleep. You want to stay conscious as your body is drifting off into what is the REM, or the sleep realm, or the sleep state, the astral state. Go into it in a meditative sense, not in a I'm tired, I'm fatigued, I'm drained, I'm going to sleep. No. Stay conscious as your body is drifting off and shutting down. Keep your mind alert, aware, and conscious as the body is drifting and shutting down. When you begin to become conscious in your dream, you are actually beginning to master the death state, or when you decide to leave this dimension. And it strengthens your willpower as you cross through the Duat, as you cross through the Samsara. And this is going to be needed. Certain things that happen during the Duat or during the Samsara, past the entities, past the egregores, past certain creations, mind creations, emotional creations, called the Bardo, as you come across these figures or figurines or smoke figurines and luminescent figurines, which are nothing but thought and emotion, you're going through a stream of thought and emotion, thought and emotion. They depict them as creatures, these figures. As you're traveling across this, your willpower is your navigation system. Your willpower is your GPS to travel across the Duat or the Samsara, whether you choose to incarnate or whether you choose to excarnate. This determines what's going to happen, and you can begin to practice this and do this while in the physical body. To remain conscious and aware, your day-to-day, moment-to-moment life, as well as when the body drifts off and goes to sleep. To remain present, to remain conscious, to remain aware as the body is shutting down and drifting off. You remain more and more aware in your sleep state, meaning that, when you sleep in and you start to drift off, and, we have certain kind of situations that happen. Somebody's beating you up or, moving real quick on you, and you're just throwing slow punches, and you're wondering in your dream, why am I not throwing fast punches or fast kicks? And this person is whipping on you. It could be a creature, it could be a beast, it could be a person, whatever. Or it can be just walking past people, but your willpower hasn't developed. Therefore, you can't turn and interact and talk with these people that you are passing in your dream. You're just a witness, witnessing whatever is in the dream state or the astral realm. Developing your willpower makes you able to turn to somebody in the dream state that you wouldn't naturally turn to and reach out and touch them or interact and communicate with them, which means that you're overriding the program. You're in the process or in the potential of deprogramming and reprogramming your whole being. You do this by remaining conscious and aware in the awake state while the body is drifting off and shutting down. This begins to put you in a pro state of development, mental development, as you begin to cross the stream of the Duat or the Samsara into your next physical appearance or whatever other thing that you decide to take on prior to the crossing of the Duat. Depending upon where your mind is at, your vibration frequency, so on and so forth. Now, let's go right into the video at the moment. I don't have this in a certain order. I begin class in a few hours, so I'm just going to kind of run through this at the moment. For some reason, the spirit seemed like a certain urgency to touch upon this, so I'm going to touch upon it at the moment. Just bear with me because I have it in no specific order. For those of you that are waiting for the product, the Crystal Clear, it's on its way. Okay, it's on its way. I'm making a whole bunch more. Like, I'm really literally in the process of making a lot right now. So I'm in the process of making product. I'm doing certain classes. I'm writing books. So I'm doing a few things at one time. So bear with me. Like I said, this ain't Amazon. This is asyouare.com. But even this as well, how to use this product, as I told you before, certain kind of crystals within this. You also have a selenite stone, which you can see right here, as well as quartz crystals, as well as deep Atlantic Ocean mineral sea salts. A certain kind of sea salt, though, from something called the Sectarian Sea, which is a very deep ocean floor or bed floor of the Atlantic Ocean, where our ancestral Atlantean ancestors or the antiquitous scientists and geneticists or nano experts resided or arose from or came from before the water had rose its levels. So that's very powerful. It's a very powerful concoction. You have to know what to do with that. I explained it for certain times, certain people in certain consultations, as well as classes. But you have to in a certain spot in your home that has very dense, heavy, dense energy where you think a lot from, where a lot of thoughts circulate from, where you find spots in your home or your house that you argue a lot, or you get pissed off a lot, and you hold arguments, confrontations, you get pissed off a lot in certain areas. This is also, I told you, the urban love, which also you have to be in a certain kind of state fit to actually really work and activate a certain kind of thing within your double helix specifically, to make it real specific, even more specific than that. But this is crystal clear, and these hexahydrate crystals you sprinkle in an area. First, you have to sweep that area, that corner, or that spot underneath that chair, underneath that couch, in the corner of that home, that living room, the bedroom, the kitchen, the bathroom, wherever, that you have a lot of heavy thought and you think a lot, and your ego plays a big factor in, your emotional factor in. And you sprinkle the hexahydrate in that corner after you sweep it, after you mop it. And you leave it there for a period of anywhere of 3 minutes, 3 hours, 3 days, 3 weeks, whatever. You sweep up the hexahydrate crystals, throw it in the garbage. Matter of fact, before you do that, you never take the selenite stone out of the pack. Never take the selenite stone out from the crystal clear pack. This is a natural recharger, a fullerene recharger, a crystalline recharger. If you want to understand what that means, book a consultation. I'll explain further. But you never take the selenite stone out of the pack because it keeps the hexahydrate crystals recharged. You take the hexahydrate crystals, you put it in the corner after you finish cleaning or sweeping up, clearing out that space, wherever it may be. And you put the crystal quartz on top of the hexahydrate. After a period of any 3 minutes, 3 hours, 3 days, 3 weeks, you sweep up the hexahydrate crystals, throw it in the garbage, take the crystal quartz, put it back inside the package with the selenite stone and the remaining hexahydrate. This keeps it rejuvenated, it keeps it recharged, it keeps it alive for it to work. After a while, when you walk back into that spot, a few minutes, people have told me already, you walk back into that spot, you feel a cool sensation, a very cool sensation. You feel very light. Your body begins to feel very buoyant. What this does is it gives you access to a realm in your mind called the Delta realm. The Delta realm gives you immediate access to your double helix as well as your ionic intelligence. When you are there in that state, this is like a transporting thing, a transporting product. It's like the transporter, or what they used to call the Guardians of the Forever in Star Trek. When they step into that portal and they end up in another space-time continuum, it's the same kind of thing, the same kind of ingredients and concoction and formula inside of this specific product, as well as in other products as well, like the oils and the sprays, and as well as the Urban Love. These things put you in a delta or theta state, which means deep relaxation, deep restoration. From that point forward, you have a job to do. You have a duty to do, a responsibility to begin to lighten or to not participate with the ego. You're going to dream different. You're going to sleep different. You're going to rest different. You're going to feel different. You're going to think different. You're going to begin to live differently. This is the product. This is what this does. I got a lot of supernatural testimonials and feedback from this product alone. I even tested it myself. All my products I have, I tested myself before I give it to anybody. And I see what it does to me. And if it does that to me and we share the same strand, the same DNA imprint, it's going to do the same effects to you, but in a different degree, in a different grade of experience, a different level, depending upon where you're at mentally and psycho-spiritually. And what this does, this gives you access to that very location that I'm talking about, called the Duat or the Samsara, to become more conscious, more aware, and to have more access to your willpower during your moment-to-moment, day-to-day life, as well as the dream states. To go deep into that, like I say, book one. And I'll go into it more deeper with you and tell you how to apply, because these are not just products that you buy and you spray on you. Because my products do smell good. Trust me. They definitely do. But these are ancient technologies. These are not just products. That's how true it is. Let's get into it. These are ancient technologies that you apply. Okay? Now, during the samsara or the duat, the crossover from either you want to incarnate or excarnate, there are 6 principles that are present that happen during this time. Witness, awareness, consciousness, self-awareness, willpower, and attention redirection. Attention redirection is very important because this determines whether you're going to reincarnate or excarnate, which means exit the carnation cycle. Attention redirection is very important because your attention redirection, or your usage or access to your attention redirection, is determined upon the degree of your willpower, the strength of your willpower. Because the strength of your willpower will determine whether you can redirect your attention along the stream of the duat or the samsara. Coming across I'm going to go into your suppressed emotional states, your suppressed thoughts that you never addressed and confronted and neutralized within self. So the question is, incarnation or excarnation? Choices and decisions that were once feeling and emotion based turned into divine navigation from practice and repetition as a result of experience, matured into a knowing. Choices and decisions that were once feeling and emotional based turned into divine navigation from practice and repetition as a result of experience, matured into a knowing. These are your experiences that you're coming across, your emotional experiences and your thought experiences that you never neutralized, addressed, or confronted within self. You will meet them, you will see them, you will bear witness to them during the samsara or the duat in between either incarnation or excarnation. You're going to see this, you're going to come across this. So witness, you're going to witness what you're seeing during this crossover. Awareness is going to be present because you're going to be some sort or some kind of awareness or somewhat aware of what you're witnessing as you're crossing the samsara or the duat. You're going to be witnessing these figures, these smoke figures and these luminescent figures. You're going to be conscious in a certain way. Self-awareness is what you have to practice during the alive state, during the physical life, during the human life. You have to practice self-awareness. Self-awareness is different than just awareness. Like I always say, awareness means I am here. Consciousness means I am here in a room, in my living room. Self-awareness means who am I? What is this I that's speaking? You see, so when it crosses into self-awareness, it goes back into the internal. Awareness and consciousness is kind of in between internal and external, but self-awareness means it goes back to be internal. These kind of things have to be present during the time of crossing the samsara or the duats. This will determine whether you will incarnate or whether you will excarnate. Now, this choice can also be chosen upon you through consciousness and awareness during the human life, whether you want to return back here, whether you want to graduate or transcend into your next possibility, your next cosmic possibility, your next spiritual possibility, your next solar potential. That's up to you. Okay? Now, it can be a choice or it can be a knowing. Or it can be, you can play with both if you want to. But it's more of on the basis and foundation of a knowing. You know for some reason that depending upon what kind of consciousness and awareness, degree of consciousness and awareness that you're on in this present moment, something in you will tell you, oh, we're not coming back. Or if we do come back, it's going to be maybe 5,000 years later, 10,000 years later. And how do you actually know whether you reincarnate or not? Maybe the next reality is one big purple sky. Maybe the sky is in the ground is on the sky, on some inception kind of understanding. Maybe the regular height is 30 feet tall. There's more questions than answers in this reality, in this dimension, in this physical experience. Way more questions than answers. And if you understand what questions and answers are, the actual questions are the answers. You are the actual answering question of itself. This is metaphysics. Okay. Now, we hear this in mythology where they say, in the beginning was evil. Why do they say in the beginning was evil? What do they mean by that? In the beginning was evil. Well, in the beginning of evil, meaning in the beginning was veil or a veil. This is what evil means. Evil means a veil. In the beginning was evil means in the beginning was a veil. And that veil was talking about the stream or the soul travel throughout the Duat or Samsara. And this evil that you want to, if you want to say evil, was known as the Bardo, or these serpents that Ra has to cross during the Duat, or the Bardo that you come across during the Tibetan's ancient system. These, once again, figurines or creatures that are made of smoke or light. So light or smoke, smoke or light. This is even known as, even in the Toltec lineage, known as the smoky mirror. Going past the smoky mirror or the smoky mirrors, which are nothing once again but your thoughts and emotions that you experience during the physical human life that you never address, confronted, and neutralized during your physical experience. So therefore they pop up during your crossover or the purgatory state during the Duat or the Samsara. You're going to meet them, you're going to see them, you're going to come across them. Because if you know anything about thoughts, there's something of thoughts that's called thought forms. These thought forms are called egregores, which can be seen on certain kind of monitors now with certain kind of machineries. These thought forms, these forms, or these swirls or spirals of energy that can be seen in a certain kind of lens or some kind of some kind of system that they have, whatever, in some kind of whatever technology. And they can be seen as swirls, light swirls, luminescent swirls that permeate off your body, permeate off your head, permeate off your aura and your energy field. And they can be seen in the immediate aura or the outline or the silhouette of your body's lights. That they permeate. It's like a spray out and they swirl and they go into these puffs of clouds of light and things like that. These are the things that you come across when you expire from this carnal vessel, i.e. physical body. You're going to come across these things during the crossover, during the purgatorial state. This will determine whether you will incarnate or excarnate. But you don't have to wait till that happens. You can actually begin to practice your consciousness and awareness now. And like I said, these things are emotional embodiments and thought embodiments that you come across during the stream as you're traveling across the Duat and the Samsara into your next potential or your return. So how do I begin practicing this, Amayas? How do I begin to neutralize these things? Be very careful of be very aware of how you participate in your somatic nervous system, as well as something called your limbic system. This is where emotions, feelings, and moods reside. It is feelings, emotions, really, emotional states that kind of begin to anchor you here in the physical body. And a feeling is a falling. And if you begin falling, you begin failing. These words sound like each other for a reason. They are interconnected with each other, as well as their definitions and understandings. It's all interconnected or related. And all means something together as well as separately. but they mean something together as a family of understanding. You have to be very aware, because the more you become emotional, the more you let things trigger you, and you lose your composure and lose your cool, you create an entity. You create a thought entity and an emotional entity, because both mirror each other. Every emotional state is supported by a thought. Every thought is supported by an emotional state. So when you are in an emotional state or in a repetitious thought pattern, this repetitious thought pattern projects an emotional entity. This emotional state projects a thought entity, a thought pattern entity. These are mirroring entities that you're going to cross in the middle and begin to interface with as you cross. And this is where the whole understanding of the all-seeing eye comes from. The all-seeing eye is what you become when you're crossing through the purgatorial state of the duat or the samsara. This will determine once again whether you will incarnate or whether you will excarnate. The choice is yours, and the choice can be yours now. And it doesn't have to be a choice per se. You'll know that based upon what kind of consciousness and awareness that you are on right now in this moment. What kind of books you read, what kind of things that catch your interest, your attention, and certain things that you don't know and can't understand that you just have a natural affinity to, a magnetic pull to. We all have a magnetic pull to things, to certain kind of readings, to certain kind of topics, certain kind of understandings, knowings, research, studyings. For some reason, we just have to know that. For some reason, I have to know that before I leave this body. I have to understand it. There's something about that that catches my attention, holds my interest, and I have a natural affinity to. It pulls me to it. I must know it. And especially if you don't know why. I don't know why. I just got to know that. That's your ancient intuition pulling you towards that thing, saying we need to know that. And the more deeper you go into these directions, these pulling effects, these natural phenomena that happen, this pulling phenomenon that happens, this will bring you deeper into what you are supposed to gather here, and it should automatically pull you into a more light, gossamic, buoyant way of being, of living, breathing, doing. You're going to take things lighter. You're not going to get as emotional. You're going to experience feeling, but not let feeling turn into a mood, and not let mood graduate or digress into an emotional state. So you're going to experience feelings. That's what the chakra system is for. We're here to experience feelings, and these feelings pocket themselves as memory storages within these certain centers within the body. But becoming emotional and turning into a mood and losing your cool, coming off your square, losing your center, stepping out your circle is not conducive to the progress of this specific path. So, in the beginning was evil. This mythology means that in the beginning was veil or a veil. In the beginning was evil means in the beginning was a veil. What veil? The veil of the stream or the soul travel through the duat or the samsara. The veil was the samsara. The veil was the duats that you travel through, being present, remaining present amongst luminescent smoke bodies of unneutralized psychosomatic projections that were never realized, recognized, acknowledged, or addressed during the life experience. Now, you know how I read. I read because I'm a book writer. A lot of this that I have in my videos are written in book form or will be published in book form very soon. For those of y'all who are interested, a lot of y'all contacted me already who are interested. Any more who are interested, contact me. I'm also going to have a podcast as well. I had a very successful podcast about 2 years ago. Very successful. Reached thousands and tens of thousands of people all over. It's on Spotify.com, on Spotify, and it's called Beyond Words and Expression. Beyond Words and Expression. That was a very successful podcast, about over 40 something episodes, and those are just channels. I wasn't reading from something. I was just channeling in those moments. So I have a certain process that I go by sometimes. Sometimes I'm gonna channel certain things, but I'm gonna have a new podcast I'm gonna put up where I'm just channeling and I'm going in. When I channel, something else happens. But on my YouTube channel, I read from how I write my books. And then I expound upon, I open them up and emphasize upon what points I'm touching upon in certain ways. So I'm a little more cookie cutter on YouTube, but that's not my true being. I'm really chaotic being. So basically the samsara or the duats, what you come across is whatever unaddressed idiosyncrasies you unknowingly or knowingly suppress during the physical experience. So whatever unaddressed idiosyncrasies you knowingly or unknowingly suppress during your physical experience uses this specific in-between existing display to express its existence within the stream of passing. Understand that. Y'all know I get a little wordy. Rewind it. Understand what I said. Take the point. Write it down. Take notes. Whatever. This is very important. Okay? Very important. The next doorway is, where in the body does feeling and emotion reside? Amayas, where does this emotion and feeling reside within my body? So I can, have a knowledge of it. I can look it up. I can research it. I can study it. I can go in on it and get my understanding from my spiritual interpretation from it to break it down and practice this method. It is within something called the limbic system. And this is when you get the whole point of the spirit can become in limbo, in purgatory. The spirit can become in limbo because it's becoming stagnated within emotional projections and thought projections. As the spirit is traveling across the stream, it can get stagnated or thrown off between emotional projections and thought projections. They're twins of each other. They twin each other. Emotion projects a twin of thought. Thought projects an emotional twin. So these are mirroring effects. This is why you have to begin to mirror yourself, which is self-reflection while in the physical life, in the physical body. This is why self-reflection this is where, as well as why, self-reflection becomes so relevant and so important during your physical life, during your physical experience, while you have the possibility, while you have the opportunity to do so. Okay? Now, it's within the limbic system, which is the brain, mostly. And it travels down through the peripheral nervous system, somatic, parasympathetic, so on and so forth. And centers itself within the central nervous system, which begins to, if you're not conscious of what you're doing, it'll begin to affect your nerve endings, which are your fingertips, the tip of your tongue, the tip of your nose, the tip of your phallus, the tip of the clit, the tip of the nipples, the tip of anything. It'll begin, the tip of your hair. It'll begin to, any tip, it'll stagnate energy passing or energy expression. Anyway, going back, the limbic system is where the emotional or the emotions and feelings reside as memories as well. And like I said, these feelings and emotional templates or emotional tattoos and thought tattoos tattoo itself or embed itself within specifically a section of the brain called the hippocampus. And it draws up these emotional states and these thought patterns and repetition through something, a certain chemical called acetylcholine, that it rains down from the hippocampus into the bloodstream, into the body. And this is when you begin to shake and get mad and punch something and kick something or try to get violent with your specific significant other or whoever's around. Sometimes you just outburst. So within the limbic system, where the spirit can become limbo or in the purgatory throughout this crossover or travel through the duat or the samsara. As well as something called the somatic nervous system. And soma is related and connected to the word and understanding samsara. Soma is sama, which is samsara. See, all these things are interconnected. What you're going through through the samsara or the duat is something actually deep within you. It's not something outside. You're traveling somewhere. You're going through something out and you're traveling and drifting. You're just hovering. No, it's internal. I'm going to make another video talking about how you don't exit the body when you die. You don't suspend when you leave. You don't exit. You don't leave. You go inside. These are internal realms, internal planes. These are not external. These are internal. You don't eject the body. You inject into a realm within the body. This is what I said that these things do. These things give you access. Crystal clear gives you access to that specific place and space. But when you get in that specific place and space, you have something to do. You don't just get there and chill there and come back out of it. You stay there and you do something. That something to do can be explained during the consultation or so on and so forth. Y'all gonna book the classes and y'all gonna keep paying for these consultations and coming for these consultations, because this information is not gonna just be given out free. I don't give a lot. I give enough information out on my channels, on my videos, a lot. You can even take that and run with it. But when it gets more deeper and more anal into it and more detailed and descriptive, that's gonna have to be, those are services that have to be paid for. Because this wasn't just given out. This wasn't common knowledge to common folk at one time. This was ancient society and priesthood that wasn't playing games with you. You know, this was given to people or a lineage called the nobility or the noble ones. Okay, even if I do give this out for free, say I go deep and I go in detail and real minute and nano with it, with you, this information can be in a way harmful to you. It can be dangerous to you. If this is not taken in with a certain kind of mindset and you're not on a certain kind of vibration and frequency, this can be detrimental to you and harmful to you. The information I'm telling you can be harmful to you if I go real deep in it. But like I said, those are for consultations as well as my students and attendees in class. You can ask them. They'll tell you. Right now we have a full class, so you can sign up for the spring semester. And also those who sign up for classes also get certain times, depending upon scheduling, can get a free consultation here or there. I build with them on WhatsApp, on Zoom. Classes are on Zoom, but consultations are held on WhatsApp if we don't have Zoom. Or it can be held on Zoom as well. But sometimes I hold free, you know, we discuss certain things that they need clarity on, and I bring clarity to them, depending upon what they're going through in life or something in class. So, you know, you get that kind of opportunity dealing with me. There's something within the brain also called the diencephalon. The diencephalon is also within the limbic system. And the diencephalon, that's where the ego is supposed to die at. That's why it's called a diencephalon. The diencephalon is within the limbic system. The ego is supposed to die within the diencephalon before it goes through the limbic system, before it goes through the duat, so that it doesn't become limbo within the thought and emotional twinnings and mirrorings effect during the duats or the samsara. Other also connected systems or related systems, the somatic nervous system, central nervous system, something called an autonomic nervous system, as well as an endocrine system. These are systems within the human body where human emotion and human thoughts reside within and create pockets and memory storages within. Okay? Now there's a book called Cosmic Memory, which is right here. Serious book, very serious. This was given from, I guess you could say Moorish manuscripts, ancient Moorish manuscripts, which are called the Mir. The Moor came from the word Mir. Mir means Trinity. Just to make a long story short, it means Trinity. And this is where you get the pyramid. The pyramids were also called mirrors at once. It sounds like mirror, right? But this is cosmic memory. I'm saying that for a reason. The next doorway is the true divine purpose of cosmic memory. The word cosmic, keep this in mind. The word cosmic actually means the mind. The word cosmic means mind. It specifically means an interconnected conscious whole where the spirit finds unity with its divine essence. This is what the word cosmic means. Google it, dictionary it, look it up, research it. The word cosmic means an interconnected conscious whole. So it means consciousness, where the spirit finds unity with its divine essence. In ancient Egypt, the brains were only taken out of the Nasuts, or the pharaohs, as you know, who mastered their emotions and feelings. So the brains were taken out of the suits who mastered their limbic system, their somatic nervous system, their autonomic nervous system, their endocrine system, their limbic system, and their diencephalon. This was the Nasuts, or the pharaohs, that their brains were taken out of their skull. This is where you get the whole skull, the brain taken out the skull. These were pharaohs who mastered their human emotions and feelings. Therefore, they were spiritually prepared, mentally prepared, psycho-spiritually prepared to pass right through the duats, or the samsara, with pure willpower and pure awareness. This is where you get the rites of passage. You have the right to pass through now. The right was the mastering of your emotional and feeling body, your somatic nervous system, your soma body. When you master your soma, you pass through the samsara successfully. This rite of passings technology were preserved for and shared with the noble, or the noble class, or the lineage of nobility, the noble ones. Do you know your purpose? It is wise, according to this path and this gnosis, it is wise to begin utilizing your imagination and creativity in order to find clarity in your spiritual purpose. Things like responsibility, title, and positions for you job people out there that have these positions, titles, and responsibilities at your job, at your occupations. Keep this in mind. Things like responsibility, title, and positions begin to alienate you from your divine innocence, i.e., your youthful imagination. 3 things to help you in understanding your purpose: attention, interest, and affinity. Not infinity, but affinity with an A. And your affinity connects you to your infinity, or your infinite nature, your infinite purpose. I'm trying to see if I'm going to keep it right there for now. I'm trying to think, because I have a few things I'm doing. You want to get books too as well, also called Why Darkness Matters, to understand the cosmos inside of your body. I go in this with class, with the section of the class I call biocosmology, or occult biology. I touch very deep into this understanding, as well as beyond this understanding. Go very deep into it. Portals of Transcendence is also a very good book to get. Portals of Transcendence. You might want to get this book because this deals with sacred geometry. Once you understand sacred geometry, it's not what you thought it was. Okay, The Crossing of the Duat, and so on and so forth, is a book called the Isis Thesis. This goes into a lot of things, as well. As you can see, these are my bookmarks, straight paper. You know, when you want to roll, you want to roll. You in chaos, you in chaos. You in the moment, you in the moment. Do what you can to get it done. Okay, so understand things like responsibility, title, and positions can stagnate your emotion, or stagnate your imagination, because as imagination, you are everything all day. You know, you were different characters, different cartoon characters, different superheroes, as well as different people. You know, you were these things. Your imagination is a very free apparatus, a very free intelligence. But when you get stuck in positions like, I'm just a office manager, or I'm just a assistant, personal assistant, or a secretary, or I'm just a driver, a truck driver, or I'm just a cab driver, or I'm just a manager or a supervisor. When you get stuck in these titles and these positions and these responsibilities, you begin to alienate yourself from imagination, your childlike, youthful imagination. And that's spiritual stagnation according to this understanding. Now you have something called the opening of the mouth ceremony that the ancient ancestors used to do in ancient Kemet. They used to put mushrooms in the mouth of the deceased king. The deceased king is the deceased kin, which is the body of you, the dead body. They used to put mushrooms in the mouth when the body was dead. And this was that so he may or she may synthesize or nanoize into their quantum inheritance in order to direct themselves through the duat with pure awareness and willpower. So even the opening of the mouth ceremony was based upon putting a mushroom inside of the deceased mouth so that their soul may synthesize into its most deep nano quantum state of existence so that it may navigate itself gracefully and successfully throughout the duat or the samsara with nothing but pure awareness, pure consciousness, and an enhanced abundance and high degree of willpower. I have a lot more to this, but I got class to get ready for pretty soon. My students and attendees, if y'all see this after the class or before the class, cool, depending upon when I upload this. But just wanted to touch upon this for the moment. Spirit told me to do so, so I did so. And I'll see you guys in the next video. As you are.